And I just had that thought cross my mind, Carl. Hit me with your best shot.
I love Pat Benatar.
Well, I'm
I'm
just saying,
just
you said I'm going to hit you with it. I'm like, oh
you know
man,
what's funny
what's he going
though?
to hit me
So
with?
I met her. I met her.
Okay.
This is probably like 5 years ago,
Yeah. Yeah.
and super sweet lady, right?
Yeah.
Super sweet lady. She says she hates that song because she said it
And
sounds
she,
so violent, and she's really just. I mean, she plays this like. Can I say
yeah.
badass? Is it okay for me to say that?
Sure. Sure.
She
Yeah.
she plays this badass rock and
Yeah.
roll goddess, back in
Yeah.
the 80s and 90s, and come to find out, she's just really sweet lady,
And
and
she has to sing that song thousands and thousands of times,
yeah,
and she
and she
and
says
act
she
like she
hates
loves
it.
it every time.
She says she hates it. So
Yeah.
hey, so I wanted to ask you something today. So you don't know the topic. This one,
Yeah.
this somebody brought this up on Breakfast Club today, and I thought, boy,
Yeah.
what a great topic.
Yeah.
They said we have to make sure, like, all referral partners are not created equal,
Mm.
and we can't treat them as such.
Yeah.
And of course, we don't mean as human beings, right? Of course,
Yeah.
as human beings, of course, we believe that. But as business partners, we can't treat a $1 bill the same as $100 bill.
Yep.
Like the $1 bill, we just kind of crimp it up and put in our pocket sometimes. The $100 bill, we fold it up, we put in our wallet, we tuck it away,
Yeah.
and it doesn't get thrown in with the nickels and dimes into the change box.
Yeah.
So let's go into our realtor partners. We have our qualified,
Mm-hmm.
which are what's our definition of qualified?
Yeah, 8 or more buy-side transactions in the last 12 months. So at a
All right.
minimum, 8 buy-side
But
transactions.
here's the thing, Steve. I can't, and this is a real thing.
Yeah.
I can't just focus on the qualified agents because about half of our closings over
Yeah.
in my branch,
Yeah.
and my suspicion is same over in yours, about half the closings come from non-qualified. Now, let me quantify this for a minute, though. We might have, and I'm just going to use figuratively
Sure. Yeah,
speaking
let's
numbers.
do it.
So half of our closing, and we do hundreds a month. I know you got a huge
Yeah.
branch too,
Yeah.
very successful. So we do hundreds of loans a month, and let's just say if we did 300 for the month, right? I'm
Mhm.
just going to grab a number. 150 of those came from a small group of qualified real estate agents,
Yes.
right? Let's say when I say small group, it's all like from say 80 agents.
Yeah.
So 80 agents were responsible for 150 of those closings for
Right.
the month. The other 150 were with non-qualified agents, but it wasn't 80 of them. It was
It was
like
a lot. Yeah.
literally over 1,000.
Yeah.
Like literally, like we market to over 1,000.
Mhm.
So while we focus on the qualified, they're only half the business. A much smaller crowd, easier to manage, but we can't ignore the other half, which is about 20 times more harder to manage.
Yeah.
And I can't give the same time to the non-qualifieds, yet I want those other 150 loans a month, right?
Mhm.
So how does it look different when I'm marketing to a qualified versus a non-qualified? And how is it, if it is, how is it different? So two questions. How is my marketing to them different? And how is my attention to them during a deal different, if at all?
Got it. Love it, man. Hey, and this is a great question because that's the wrestling back and forth. It's like I'm spending all this time with agents that I know, like, and trust. They just don't have anything to send to me. Hey, and so let's start with the attention. Well, we'll start with the attention first.
Okay.
So, what one of the things that I love is when an agent gives you a relational referral, not an internet lead, not a sync lead, not a Zillow lead, but they've got a relationship. They're
Somebody called
referring
one
it
of their
over to
sign
me. Yeah,
writer, met at an
100%.
open house,
That's
something
right.
like that. Okay.
And so it's a real person they're motivated to buy. So Carl, when that lead comes over, we move it to a form we call the Focus 40. The reason why we call it Focus 40 is that's like we're working to build this list of agents that are qualified or that are actively referring to us. And here's what we say. An agent's working with you if they refer you a lead and you have a closing in 90 days. So like if I have an agent relationship and they don't send me any relational referral in, half a year, that's not my agent. So we measure it by when I get the referral. Now I've got a 90-day clock is in my closing a transaction with them. And that's what we call our Focus 40. So I'm working to get agents over to my Focus 40. So the attention is
Wait,
this,
wait, before
Carl.
you do, before
Yeah.
where does the 40 number come from?
Well, here's what we know is if we got 40 agents that are actively referring, even if they're at the minimum of 8 transactions a year, they're qualified. We know they have the ability to refer us up to 4 transactions a year that fund, which would be 160 transactions, which is over $50 million. Like it's the math of how do I keep building my business? Well, I'm looking to build 40 authentic relationships that are actively referring
All right,
people.
so the 40 is just
Yeah. It's just a number, it's a target.
an arbitrary number. It's the goal of how many of these qualified agents I
Yeah.
want to work with. Got it.
That's right.
Okay. All
Hey,
right.
and
So
so you asked the question attention. Here's how you handle it. Whether the agent who referred you was qualified or not qualified, it's touch the lead, touch the partner every time. That's the attention.
and what do you
So
mean by that?
so here's what happens. An unqualified agent refers me. I talk to the client. As soon as I'm done talking to the client, I call the agent that referred me, regardless of whether qualified or not. I give them an update. You know, the three biggest complaints an agent has, Carl, is they don't close on time. A loan officer doesn't close on time. They don't give any communication when the file's in process, and they don't follow up on my leads. So, what we want to do is in our process, we want to be able to touch the lead, and as soon as we talk or touch the lead, we want to call the referring agent and give them an update. So the attention, whether qualified or unqualified, is exactly the same. I get the lead, talk to the lead, schedule loan consultation. I call the agent with an update. Tomorrow, I do the loan consultation, walk through the pre-approval. I call the agent with an update. On Thursday, when I do pre-approved and looking, and I'm checking in to see how the home buying process is going, I talk to the lead, I call the agent with an update. And somebody may say, Carl, we hear it all the time. They're not going to want to hear from you 3 or 4 times in a week. Au contraire,
Yeah.
because what they're blown away with is, oh my gosh, not only did I give you a lead, but you're actually moving them through a process, quote unquote, and you gave me an update at every step. You know what they end up doing? They're chasing you down and saying, hey, did you ever talk to so and so? What happened with so and so? Where are we at with so and so?
It's their number one complaint.
Biggest complaint. And but you know what? Because and we've all been there where it's like every deal matters so much in today's environment. And when they understand that you're not just good naturally, but your process of touching the lead, touching the partner, touching the lead, touching the partner is so strong. And every time we talk to the client, we're asking them, hey, do you have a friend, family, coworker looking to buy, sell, or refinance? Could I count on you that when you run into one, just give me their information. I'd love to help them. And what you're teaching that agent is, holy cow, this is somebody I don't ever have to follow up with. They got my back. I'm going to go get more. So the attention when the relational lead comes in is the same. Because that's the process. Like people say, well, are you showing the same love to qualified versus unqualified? Doesn't matter. They refer me somebody, the process is the same, even
Everybody's
when it gets into the back end. When we app the loan, we RESPA disclose it, and we're in contract to close. I touch the lead, touch the partner. My back end team touches the lead, touch the partner, and everybody's brilliantly happy through the process. So, does that help on
yeah.
the
So
attention?
so
Okay.
when I'm doing a loan, everybody's treated the same, whether they sent me 5
Everybody's
loans
treated the
this
same.
month
Yep, that's
or
it.
this second loan this year.
Doesn't change.
Everybody just keep them updated.
100%.
And every time you talk to the client,
Yep.
you call that agent, tell them, hey, I just
Yep.
spoke to them. We're doing this, and nobody ever says, hey, stop.
You're
You're
giving me too much communication.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Stop
That's
that. I don't
yeah,
want to know exactly where my client's at in the process.
yeah.
Hey, but you know what? There's two things. If you want to take it to the next level, make sure that every time you talk to the client and every time you talk to your agent, you're asking for the business in a cool way. And so it's the 3 by 3 for the client. And with the agent, hey, Carl, my gosh, hey, listen, here's where we're at with the client. Just did the loan consultation. We're finishing up the pre approval. You'll have it tomorrow morning in your inbox by 10 a.m. Hey, before I let you, we get off the call, who else do you have today that I could help you get pre approved to make sure it's a good use of your time? You see what we just did with this client. Who else can I help you with? So it's very intentional. And look, what'll happen is you'll gain the momentum of you're making the call, touching the client, asking for the business. Your pre-approval specialist is making the call, asking for the business. Your back-end loan partner is making the call, asking for the business. And that's where it just starts to compound and snowball when everybody's doing the same way every time process.
You know, we were talking with Kenneth,
Yeah.
one of the leader, one of the loan officers in your branch,
Yeah.
and talking with her. And what was she? She was like at 10, 11 loans
Yeah,
this
yeah,
month.
that's well, it'll she's got it. I
Nine.
think it's 11, but it'll probably shake down to 10,
Yeah,
9,
something like
somewhere
that.
there
Yeah.
for the month.
So and wait, and so she's in Mustang,
Mustang, I know
Oklahoma.
it. Yeah,
Now, I never even heard of Mustang until I met her, and so it's not a big place.
hey,
And
listen, when she said that, I wrote 3 things down. But what about inventory? What about a small town? What about not having that many qualified agents?
yeah,
I literally wrote that down this
so
morning.
she's closing more loans than
Yeah,
99% of the loan officers in Atlanta, Dallas, New
yeah.
York, LA, San
Houston.
Fran,
Yeah,
Houston,
yeah,
Tampa,
yeah.
like smoking it in the little town of Mustang.
Mustang,
But
Oklahoma.
what she said
Yeah,
was just what you said,
that's
is
right.
that her pre-approval specialist,
Olivia, yep,
when she's when Kenneth is out prospecting,
yeah,
Olivia, the her loan officer assistant that you provide to her,
yeah,
uh, is following up on the clients, following up
that's
on
right.
the agents, and asking for more business.
That's it.
And very care. All
It's a
right, so
secret
we talked
sauce.
about the process
Yeah, the
is
attention
the
to the
same for
agents are the
everybody.
same. Yeah,
How about the
because
marketing? So
okay,
now
great.
I'm so it's let's say I have a listing agent
Yeah,
and I look at their production
yeah,
and they had 2 transactions this year.
yeah.
Do I ignore them? Do I give them the exact same
Great
attention
questions.
as my 20
Yeah,
closings real estate agent?
yeah.
Somewhere in between? What's different?
Hey, so here's the math. And so when you know the math, it helps you understand the importance of attention. So when I've got a qualified agent that actively is working with me, they're one of my Focus 40 agents, Carl. If you, for every 2 that I have, I'll close about 1 transaction a month. So let me
On the
give you an
qualified.
example. Yeah, qualified is 8 or more buy-side transactions.
And so if
So
you've got
if I
20
got
of
10,
those,
yeah, if I got 20 of them, then I'm closing about 10 transactions from them
just
on
from
a
that,
monthly
not including
basis.
your past database,
That's
but
right. That's
just
right.
from that. Okay.
That's right.
All
And
right.
so what happens is I want to pay a lot of attention to the qualified agents. And here's what I'm doing
Well,
on Monday.
wait, before you do that.
Yeah,
So it's 2 to 1
that's right.
for the unqualified. So
No, for
for
the
every two,
qualified, for
for
the
the qualified, I
qualified.
get two
Yeah,
closings. I'm sorry, I got 1 closing for every 2 of those.
that's
If
right.
I've got 10 of the qualifieds, I got 5 closings a
That's
month.
right. That's right.
What's the numbers for the unqualified?
20 to 1. Yeah,
Wow.
so it's about 20 to 1 is what we've seen. And
So 10
here's what happens.
times.
Yeah. Well,
Wow.
and that's why you and I talk about this. For the unqualified, to put them in my core prospecting time is like, look, our time's a printing press, and everybody has the same
Mm.
ink, the same printer, the same paper. We've got to choose with our time what denomination we're going to print.
We
So,
printing
Carl,
$1 bills or $100 bills?
that's it. If I've got
Mm.
2 hours of outbound prospecting on Monday, because that's my time block, and I call 100 unqualified agents, I've got an opportunity for 5 transactions versus if I'm calling 20, 30, 40 qualified agents, let's say I call 40, I get the opportunity for 20 transactions. So
Wow.
it's just about
Huge difference.
scaling your
Well, 10
time.
times, 10 times
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
All right. So how does my marketing differ then?
Yeah. So here's how simple it is for the qualified. Every Monday, we're making our outbound calls, and we
Okay.
use something in account for accountability and help us kind of in a cool way stay committed to it. In call stars from 9:30 to 11:30 Monday, and that's East Coast or 9 to 11 Coast. We're just making 2 hours of outbound calls. And Carl, here's how simple it is. Number one, who is actively referring me that's qualified? And number two, I've got my list and I'm making a phone call and I'm asking them this, Carl, do you work or you play? Hey, Carl, Steve Kyles, what's up, my man? Checking in on you. Do you work or you play this weekend? Why? These are people that are already working with us. And if it's people we're not working with, we got a whole process. And, we lay this out in the boot camp, the stuff we do, Carl, like we're laying out exactly who to call, what to say. But if they're working with us, it's a relationship. So, Carl, it's, hey, do you work or you play, man? Awesome. Before I let you go, who'd you run into this weekend that I could help you get pre-approved to make sure it's a good use of your time?
All right.
That is the number one thing.
So that's my qualified.
Yeah.
So what about, so I've got this,
Unqualified. Yeah.
yeah, that was,
Yeah.
the qualified.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I've got these 30 agents I worked with in the last 2 years.
Very
They
easy.
they refer me, and I get some closings from them, man.
Oh,
Like
100%. Yeah.
maybe one or two, maybe three last
Yeah.
year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe they were the listing agent, and I haven't gotten anything yet from them. I can't spend my 2 hours of calling printing
Right.
$1 bills, so I can't ignore them.
Yeah.
So how do I market to them?
Yeah. Hey, here's a real simple thing. And we call it high tech, high touch, low time.
Say that
So
again.
in a high tech, high touch, low time.
I like
And
that.
what happens is in about 2 hours a month, you can touch all of your unqualified agents. And here's how it is: once a month. And I'm always thinking about a process. How do I make it consistent the same way every time? So my recommendation would be I call unqualified agents after I've done my core prospecting. So they can't be a part of my core prospecting, but on Fridays, guess who we touch? Once a month, line up all of your unqualified agents and take a 2 hour block and call your unqualified agents. And somebody would
Once a
say,
month.
man, yeah, once a month.
Instead of once a week like the qualified.
Yeah, hey, what
Okay.
we found was this, Carl. If you called them once a week, they like you, but they're a little disappointed, frustrated, because they're like, you keep calling me, but I don't have any business.
Yeah.
And so we found it was
Almost
too much.
embarrassing.
Yeah, what and yes, they'll stop
Yeah.
answering your call. They get frustrated. They'll say, "Take me off the list." Look, I already told you I don't have anybody this month, but when
And
I
they
do,
don't.
yeah, they don't.
And they
Hey,
don't.
but here's what you do once a month.
Okay.
And I would encourage you do it like the same Friday of the month. Do it like the fourth Friday of the month every
Okay.
month. What do? You are a team member, calls through all of your unqualified agents, and all you want to do is check in with them. Hey, was thinking about you today. Wanted to see how you're doing. Hey, by the way, just remember this: if you have anybody you're looking to get pre-qualified or anybody you run into, I'd love to help you get them pre-qualified. Send me their information. That's it. And here's the cool thing, Carl. Out of 100, I don't know, 70 of them will go to voicemail. You just leave a voicemail. The others you talk to, and here's the good news: it's outside of my core prospecting time. So just have a 3 minute conversation, check in with them. By the way, who do you have today that I could help you get pre approved to make sure it's good use of time? Nobody? Totally cool. Listen, if anything I can help you with, call or text. I'm here for you. I'm your man. Here's the second thing: I would encourage you once a month to send out a text. And again, for me, I follow the process. This is a text we send out on Thursdays, not every week, but probably about once a month. And it's simply, hey, Carl, who do you have today that I could help you get pre approved to make sure it's a good use of your time? So one is a voicemail and a call, fourth Friday of the month.
Okay.
The second Thursday of the month, just shoot out a text, very innocent.
So
Hey,
it's like every other week. So,
yeah. And
so
one's a call and I don't have to answer it. And one's a text, I don't have to answer it, but I still see it.
yeah, yeah.
It's not invasive, it's not intrusive, it doesn't cause me to think, "Oh, I'm terrible." It's just twice a month. And then here's another cool thing. We Carl, we have a whole thing, a training. We were talking about this last week on now take those people, add them into your Facebook targeted ads for Facebook and Instagram and
Mhm.
social. So what do? I go in and I do something really cool. We just upload the list, and we've got a whole training on that inside the membership. And we just go through and we target them. So now they're seeing my cool testimonials. They're seeing a cool Saturday strategy. So it's a call once a month, a text once a month, and then put them on your targeted ads so that, again, it's high tech, high touch, low time. And then one other thing I would do too, we love big days. We love anniversaries. We love birthdays. We love holidays. And so we also will drip in happy birthday, thinking about you, happy anniversary, thinking about you. So the periodic text, which for us is most of that's all automated, but that's how you touch them in a really, really, really cool way. Is I call them once a month, I text them once a month. They're on my targeted social media ads, which is less than $100 a month. And then I touch them with a happy birthday, happy 4th of July, Merry Christmas. During Thanksgiving, I'm thinking about how grateful I am for you. And that's it. Or even a cool tip. Hey, listen, I just saw this really cool video or article, thought I would share it with you. So it's in a cool way, staying in touch with the people that give you 1 out of 20. And for every 20, you can pull a transaction a month in the pipeline.
And I like that. So it's a very clear distinction
Yeah,
on, you call once a week, one you call once a month.
that's right.
and you're using technology via the texting,
Oh yeah.
running the Facebook ads, just so that when they do that 3 deals a year, that you get a
We
shot
get an
at a couple
opportunity.
of them,
That's right.
right?
That's
And
right.
you have 100 loan officers send that to, and they each send you 2 deals a
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
That's still 200 deals.
It's a lot of opportunities.
Every
Yeah.
200 deals helps.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I like that. Good
It's a
stuff,
great way
man.
to do it.
Anything
And
I should ask you about this topic that I didn't?
no, 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 no. No, I think it's it. The attention's the same when they refer. You got to differentiate if they're qualified or not. And they go into two different lanes. They both have a process, very simple. So yeah, that's it. Yeah. Hey, and Carl, even as we were talking through it, we're talking about the attention and who to call and how much to call. Hey, I go through all that. We've got this 8-week boot camp that we're seeing massive results. Part of it is this understanding that who am I calling? What am I saying? How do I build a process that does it the same way? Kenny talked about that this morning. I heard that in the Breakfast Club. And she kept saying the same way every time, the same way every time. And when you build a same way every time process, Carl, here's what most people miss around selling, not doing, but selling. That's where it's lights out, game over. How do you get to 10 units a month, 20? Heck, I'm thinking about some other people that we're helping right now, 20 plus units a month in very short order. And I'm sitting there saying, they didn't have a process to doing, they had a cool process to selling. And then they gained confidence in doing it. So, hey, Carl, you know what we'll do? If you're interested in learning more about it, go to loanofficersuccess.com. And myself, Carl, Kristen, one of us will call you and we'll just walk through and show you literally what a process to selling can look like. And listen, Carl, it's a lot easier than you might think.
Yeah.
Like we think it's hard and complicated and 42 different things. Nope. It's like two or three
Yeah.
and it's lights out. So loanofficersuccess.com, loanofficersuccess.com. And man, we'd love to just jump on a call, show you some things that'll help you. And you've got what it takes. You know why? You know why, Carl? Because the people that are listening to this podcast, you know what? They're not loan officers. They're professionals. And they're
Mm.
people that have authentic business and an acumen that says, you know what? I got a business and now I'm going to do a few things that help me replicate that business in a very cool way. So it's just
That,
what pros do, Carl.
you know what? That's a great point. I was thinking about that earlier this week. It's like the order takers, they're
Yeah,
gone. They're
they
gone.
are. Oh yeah. Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
not glad to see them go. Like some of them I
We're
knew.
friends. I
Yeah, they
know.
were super nice people,
Yeah.
but they forgot we're running a business and they thought
Mm,
they were order takers,
mm,
and they're sitting there waiting for the next order to come
hmm.
in,
Yeah.
and that didn't work
It
out
didn't
so well.
work out so well. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's time to take control of your business and,
Um,
and to implement something pretty
what's that
simple.
URL again?
Loanofficersuccess.com.
All right, man. Good topic,
All
man.
right.
I appreciate you, brother.
All right, guys. See you.